kick things off. Map number 1, of course, Ascent. Map 2, Bind, M3C's choice. And after that, we'll be going over to Icebox if needed. And Tom, I want to hear from you before we even dive into this game. Who is the favorite in this one? Because I've heard a lot of discussion and a lot of points for both teams.
It has to be Mech. Like, based off success, it has to be. But Navi are 9-1 on this map. I do want to add, though, that one loss that Navi had was a 13-5 defeat to Mech. So take that as you will. They are still very good on this map, and they only lost in a close game to Guild.
Oh, we've already seen the push come through from Navi. They're out to the B site, closing in the door, smoking it off. A wide swing from Chronicle. That's caught them off guard a little bit. Well, he's able to punish another. Numbers thinning out for Navi. 2 players on site. A late lurk coming back through main, but there's no one left to flank. The entire team's already been taken down. Dinksj still managing to do some heavy lifting, but well, it is a 1v5 that he's found himself in, and with 24 HP, I don't know how good his chances are.
I'll always love watching Defo. Like, he's just got the mentality of maybe if I dash at him, I'll be able to kill him. But yeah, it's given Dinks a very small chance. He's someone who I think has had a solid resurgence within this roster, but ultimately HP, spike position, wary that he's being flanked. Even he's starting to just think about the orbs.
30 seconds
this one's
left.
gone on quite long, considering it was a 24 HP 1v5, but that pacey start to the round, you know, it just leaves so much room for Dinksj to play with, and he's trying to run down that clock and see if he can force someone on Mech to make a mistake. That does not happen. 1-0 we go.
There was 20 seconds left roughly when he died. We've just witnessed the fastest round we're going to see in this entire series. These are 2 of the slowest attacking side teams. It would be huge if anybody was going to start switching up the pace. I wouldn't mind it necessarily. I think throwing in a few spicy rounds here and there, but I do expect this to be an incredibly slow game from either side. But this is the thing, like, we're always going to talk about Chronicle's Chamber just as his star ability. I think there were points in last year where he was the best player in the world. The thing is, you can't doubt any agent for this map. Like, well, we have seen him frag out on a Brimstone before, so switching back over, almost making this more of a mirror matchup, and just having more of that defensive utility, being able to hold down positions, I think it's going to be more important, especially considering they start defense. Nice start to this round, though, for Navi. Like, this round is all about damage, and they've already found a kill. Yeah,
it's fantastic off the back of a full mid play. Pincering in like that with classics. Picking up this weapon for SSK to work with and hopefully marshal somebody down, but this is again going to be a slow round then. Because for Navi, why would you rush in right at this point? You really want to allow SSK to have as much time as possible to potentially work a pick, but on the other side of the coin, Tom, you do realize that it's very unlikely that Mech start peeking some ranged angles. You know, they're not going to go, well, let me just wide swing mid and see if anyone's there. Like, they know you have a marshal now. So they're much more likely to, like you saw, Redgar pops a flash, peeks it, gets the info, and then they'll play tight after that and not give opportunities away.
Yeah, they also have basically a defensive setup on either side of the map, which will be there just to slow players down. Like, you can already see the KJ utility with combination of a star available from Nats. He's even thrown a smoke on the other side just in case they were going to try and push it down late. And this is a problem. Like, they're basically going to have to run into an absolute blender here while being pinged up along the way. Like, this is just a fantastic setup from the side of Mech. And this is one of the differences that I think really needs to be highlighted from the game last week. Now, one of the problems we're always going to see from Mech is when they start on attack sides, it's slow and sometimes it doesn't look great, and then they have to pull off these massive comebacks. When they start defense, you have to break them, which is a very, very different game because this team is one of, if not the best defensive side we've ever seen in Valorant.
I think that's a big reason that we see Mech being able to make those comebacks so consistently as well, right? You said they have to make those comebacks, but they do. And, you know, putting up the numbers like that is always something to look at. SSK dashing on in. He tried to punish that early peek. If they were going for wine control or anything, he was ready to dash on over that wall, take the frag, and really catch them off guard with pacing, but they've been slowed down again. The utility coming through from this defensive side. Rotations have come in as well. Killjoy holding B and mid with her utility. and 4 players on A ready to take this push if Navi were to go forward. So you see there why this slow strategy is so beneficial. Had they have gone for a pacier take of A like most teams would have in that scenario and really felt shoehorned into it, they would have ran into a stack immediately.
You can see, though, that Mecha are definitely not dedicated into the other side of the map just yet. Already rotating players back into mid. You've got the Dart attempting to give Defo an angle, and he's basically just waiting to spam. Doesn't get anything for it, but they're still buying time. Now, Navi are very comfortable executing with 20 seconds left. In fact, I feel like they're more comfortable executing with 20 seconds left. So they are playing this one incredibly slow. Whether they expect this, they do, and SSK is finally going to get them the opening pick.
Fantastic paranoia, good coverage on it. Now the move through. Looks like an attempted play by Defo gets shut down, but Nats good for a double still. That's not going to be enough. Shados! Oh, there it is! A double of his own! And out for 3! I don't know how he's gotten away with that. A 3rd round on the board for Mech. Absolutely unreal.
This is the thing when you play against Mech, and it's something I really want to give credit to Guild for last week. They had perfect scenarios to almost destroy these individual plays. Like, I was talking previously with people about the fact that if you watch Defo in that last match, every single time he took a battle, he was being stunned. He was being hit by paranoias. Like, there wasn't an easy duel for him throughout the entire game. Now watch the way that Shados was able to run through that smoke. It was something that I think Guild planned for. It's something Navi were not ready for in this round. And now you've given them that defensive economic boost to start. The rifles that have been retrieved as well. It's already scary, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you've not watched Mech before, there is a reason you should be worried.
Yeah, you can sit there and say, oh, well, they win that because he runs through the smoke and kills 3 people, right? Simple as. But no, it's the fact that he's there, that the positioning, the fact that Mech are feeling out these rotations so well, they're resetting. Although they're losing some early duels against pistols. We saw it with the Classic on mid last time. We see it here again, and now that weapon's being retrieved, but SSK gets punished on the way back out. Chronicles flank on mid, coming out short, easy peasy, and this round is just cleaned up with only 1 loss. So again, they lose that 1 player early mid. Again, they're able to recover and make it a very strong round for this defense to build up economy, build up credits, and keep on building this dominance.
He's 10 and
that we've
0.
seen. Yeah,
he's 10 and 0 in 4 rounds. Yeah, this is the thing. They have so many pop-off players. I also want to highlight a few players on the Navi side, though. Obviously, we had a fantastic performance, 6K coming out of Cloud last week, but I really want to focus on Duno, because he's going to play very different on the KO to what a lot of other people are doing. Like, a lot of people use it aggressively for themselves. He does not do that. Like, a lot of the time, he's using much more supportive flashes. If they want someone aggressive on this agent, it will be Cloud. In fact, on Icebox, we might see that. Defo! You can't do that. That's not fair.
That just came out of nowhere, man. Like, he's smoked off. You've dealt with him. But no, apparently you haven't. Fantastic timing. Great shot. And you see the knowledge of the angles there. And look how Mech have reacted to this. I just love looking at defensive side Mech. The previous round we saw it where they rotated to A. They reset into a 1-2-2 hold, but then they're rotated back into A just in time for Shados to swing out, get that triple. This time, they're ready for the early mid fight. Absolute BS that kill goes to Defo, let's be clear. But from that point, they reset, they're covering spawn with Nats. The other players are on B site, ready to potentially play retake. I don't know what Chronicle's going to do here. I was thinking maybe his lockdown would come through, but I guess not. He's down and out.
Yeah, they've got the site here with what I would say is relative ease.
30 seconds.
Oh, come on!
Pretty easy.
Come on! It's just kills through smoke. They've not even seen anyone yet. The only person who's seen someone is dead. Zeddy will catch another on the cross back, doing well, but it's eventually traded. A 2 versus 2 after plant. No command available if they feel like using it just to try and deny some of that utility, especially with Nat still on the board. It might be worth investing.
Standing ahead.
Yeah, I think you might want to throw it into this one. We'll see. Navi, they're sitting back on the site for now. The alarm bot spotted them starting to close in. If they're going to use utility, it's now or never. The stars are coming down. The smoke is in. Nats clearing out the angles systematically, but Dinks J able to take that kill. And Shados, oh, well, he doesn't grab that frag. That's the round gone. There's no chance anymore. think he might want to contain them, though, make this super costly. Make sure that they die to that spike on the way down, or maybe even die at his hand on the way through. And he's accomplished neither of those two things.
Yeah, they'll get out with a couple. It's the minimum that Navi would have been hoping for, but more importantly, they've got onto the board. Lockdown into basically pincering through mid. Like, they're almost shutting the door, I feel like ended up helping them out because they were able to take that extra control. And then it's just Zeddy here. Like, being able to get away with 3 kills in that scenario probably shouldn't have happened, especially with how the round opened up. The fact that they recover looks much better for Navi.
Yeah, that round now on the board, but we saw the money was pretty sweet for Mech. I think Chronicle went into last round with max money. And so you're in a pretty sweet spot to buy up yet again. Navi, well, upping the pace completely. They've already dashed in. They've taken control. In comes the recon. It's not catching SSK. He's safe as can be. Lockdown in play. Chronicle, he's going to try to grab a position. Moving through the smoke, that's a nice angle, but he's only good for just the one. And it's Dunno that he took down. The res was coming in, and Shados tried to deny it. No chance. They're right back up into this Navi 4 versus 3. Zeddy's just hanging on by a thread, but he's still here.
And not much else to play with either. On the side of Mech, it's not like they have loads of utility. Redgar still with a bit that he could try and section some players out with. Both teams, though, actually going to be throwing in their 0 point, so utility not really going to be utilized at all, and almost waiting to see if they can catch somebody off guard, see if they can deny some of that extra space, flash through. Defo going to lead the charge in, and Nats has managed to catch one on the cross! In a second! Every single member is dead. There were 4 players within that site, and blink and you'll miss it.
So many aspects to it as well. Zeddy surviving on the 2 HP. He still had a smoke, so he pops up the one-way smoke. It gives them a huge advantage to play with. Utilities canceled out for Mech, so they have to delay even longer. Then they're pushing through a one-way smoke or very limited on time on the way back through. As you saw, they waited it out completely. And the issue with that is that time is a problem, right? You've got to kill everyone quickly and get on the spike. Well, that was not a problem, evidently, for Mech. They just completely ruined them. And with 5-1 on Tom, I mean, we started that round out, you saying, well, Navi, yeah, they managed to get it here. So, you know, they look a little bit better. Well, it doesn't look like they're right back up on the horse. They've really been slapped out of that one.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I feel like fundamentally, Guild might actually be the best team in the league at the moment. Like, I think the Fnatic have a hell of a lot of firepower and a lot of, like, really cool strats. I think you've got teams like Liquid where firepower is off the charts. But when I talk about Guild, I just think of fundamentals. I think they have some of the best setups. I think they have some of the best trading. And then they also have crazy individual plays. So I think that's why they were able to beat out Mech. Rounds like this, I don't think would have happened in that last game because you have a solid afterplant. You have everything you need. Your opponents, for half of it, can't even use utility. And then 3 people push in, come out with 4 kills in a second. Like that. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how Defo doesn't die. Like, they know exactly where he is in the smoke. He's the tip of the spear. Like, even I think Mech would be like, if Defo dies here, that's fine. Everyone else is going to get the trades. No, it doesn't go down.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, his success rate. Now, going for some early duels in B main again. We're going to see this aggression out of Defo. Redgar backing him up for the first fight, and he's going to fall back to the B side. Looking to contest in towards mid. They realize nobody's pushing B main, no noise outside A. There's a good chance they're trying to take that mid control again. Good shot. Still 2 players close though. Shados going to give this away by putting a drone through. They're ready for Nats. That is gorgeous. SSK taking a commanding lead over this round.
These are the sort of rounds that SSK can win you. An explosive play. You're even going to see from the shadow straight into the site. Gives them a little bit of extra information, but Chronicle has managed to slow them down on the way back through, so he'll be able to take that little bit of extra space. Turret gives them away, spray down, looks like he could have got a few, but he runs out of bullets. Still has the support of Shados though, left completely blind, can't escape. And now it is just on to Defo. Blades already popped. 1 versus 2, a doable one at that, because SSK is tagged low. They're almost trying to bait for the other. They'll know that he's here. Rifle will be retrieved as well. Definitely not over yet, and they're going to be the ones that have to plant. They need to clear this man from position if he's going to have any chance at all, but Duno will be there for the peak. Navi break back once again.
A good challenge right back up there, and SSK can be looked at for that round. Entries up mid were unbelievable. I think we saw the posturing. Mech were really hoping to catch something on the wings, especially around B or late crunching into that mid play, but they didn't get a chance to do what they wanted, which if you notice, Shados was coming up close. He was behind the smoke. Nats tucked on the corner. Just as SSK peeked, I think Redgar was a couple seconds away from popping a flash mid. They would have double peeked, and that could have ruined Navi's round. But just a split second on that peak for SSK, his timing was perfect. He gets in there. He hits that gorgeous headshot with the Blade Storm, follows on to Nats. And from there, no matter what you do, if you just pump the brakes, reset, you're in a favorable fight pretty much anywhere you go. Now, Meg had a lot of cash, so they still buy. Bulldog on defo. Other than that, everybody else is healthy enough. So it's still not an easy round for Navi to fight right back into, but a chance here, they win this to really get some rounds on the board.
Yeah, and as we've already mentioned, especially on that attacking side for either of these sides, it's going to be important. I've loved the fact that Navi haven't been afraid to throw in some of these quicker rounds, because that's always been the criticism that we've had of them, is that, okay, you can run the clock down as much as you like, and you can actually play into these slow rounds fairly well, as can Mech at times. The difference is I want to see those switch up in pace to catch teams off guard. That's what the last round was. Sure, like, you only had Blade Storm and some pistols, but it definitely looked like a lot of the players were not ready for that earlier fight.
Yeah, I think it was good pacing, catching them off in the middle of their strat. Oh, Redgar's gotten away with the kill. He goes down eventually. The Hunter's Fury still looking for more victims, not landing, and Nats, well, he's taken down in a trade. Surviving long enough to take a scalp and reset them into a 3v2 retake. 15 seconds left. Spike being planted safely now by Dunno, so it looks like it'll be secured.
Spike planted.
Then it's really... Oh, I like this idea of flashing on the back of the recon, but it doesn't yield them any results just yet.
Yeah, they have all the information at least, but that might not be enough. A 2 versus 3 scenario. Spike down in their favor, but they need to start winning some jewels. It's left on to Duno, and well, you can't really expect him to win from there. It will be Mech on the retake. It will be a 6th round on the board, and unfortunately at the moment, Mitch, Navi, they're almost looking like blips on the radar. Like, they're able to get themselves 1 or 2 here and there, but there's no streak of rounds. There's no build-up of economy, and yeah, the buys, it's something. It's not going to be perfect, but it is kind of there.
Yeah, it'll be scrappy, that's for sure. Now, look, if they can keep trading rounds back and forth, I don't think it's going to put Navi in the worst of positions, but they really want to find their footing in this map right here in this half. And there's a serious opportunity for it. Like we said, we know that Meg's defensive side is generally unbelievable. But they could force an eco out of them even here if they manage to win this round. So a very important attack round for Navi. And they will again pump those brakes. Here comes the ultimate, but look, Killjoy's on the other side. He's not going to be caught by that at all, so the nano is still online. That's going to slow Navi a little bit more. It means that they're... Oh, Shados is in! He ran into the site for 4 kills in the round all by himself. The delay was good, but it opened up that tiny door for Shados to slip through.
This is the problem. It's like, even if you're trading rounds back and forth, eventually you're gonna lose one like that. It's just gonna happen. And unfortunately, well, the SSK has obviously become a little bit too predictable because they know that he's going to try and get to the switch every single round. The rest is a bit absurd. But again, it's why we rate Shados so highly. It's why his team rate him so highly. They think he's... Well, what we've been told in the past is they think he's the best player on the team, which, considering... You've got Nats, who was, what, a Berlin MVP. I think Chronicle was also up there. I think if they'd won Champions, he probably would have been Champions MVP. So it's like, the fact that they're going, it's actually Shados. And we're like, oh, cool. And then he does stuff like that, and you're like, yeah, okay, I can see it.
And it's not just the 4K and the Hunter's Fury and the fact that they won the round. It's the ripple effect of that. As Navi come into this round with pistols, they're then essentially, unless there's a mistake by Mech here, they're 8-2 down, fighting for the last 2 rounds. This is crushing. Also, ultimates, not very many left to work with here. Navi will be lucky to get some online by the last round of the half. So, like, That was such a huge round, and for it to be decided by that, wow, something else.
It's got to be infuriating. Back to the slow pace for Navi. I think after a round like that, you can't really blame them. And they are starting to build in this direction once again. The problem is, no matter where they go, they're running into a utility setup, and they're trying to deny it with the 0 point, but it's very reliant on exactly where it lands. Nats was watching for the exact knife. He was just waiting for it. Just shot it. The second it landed, has his teammate to cover. Now Shados is in. They've got everybody here on this site, and there's only seconds left. Recon now with a spray down of his own. Oh, there's just too many superstars on this mech side, and Navi, there's nothing they can do. They're being read like a book.
So yeah, that one, I mean, look, they had pistols, so you can always shake those ones off, shrug them off, but jeez, that was hard to watch. When they come
if you actually watch Nats on the map in that round, he's literally just staring at the wall where the knife is going to land. He's just staring. He doesn't even move the entire round. He's just like, yep, knife's going to land here, I'm going to shoot it, then they're screwed.
The perfect plan executed well. 8-2. Mech looking unstoppable on Ascent, and as you'll see in the top left of your screens, this was Navi's map pick, and they do not look like they're on home turf right now. Mech with the opening duel again. It's defo to find that. Dunno is taken out. That's a lot of their utility on the attack side now ineffective. Still, they've got the flash from Zeddy to work with, but they've got to be a lot more particular now in entering into these sites.
It seems like they're breaking the utility almost as a bit of a ruse, but when you have the drone available to give you that information, gonna spot out SSK, and they're very wary. Someone pushing through. That's the spike. That's all the information that Mech could ever have needed. Just spotting that down middle. Nice shot at least will come through. Kill on the other side as well, too. Now for Navi, but Chronicle's still alive and kicking.
Swarm grenade out.
Oh, he's gone down though. Now they've got the sight, the cross, and the plant. Blade Storm for SSK on the back of that, and last time he had a Blade Storm, you saw what he was able to do. I'm not clear whether he'll use it here though or save it for the next round. I think saving it for next is better economically. They want this win. They need this win. It's round 11. They've only got 2 on the board so far. Redgar, flash in hand, it's popped. And he's taken down. Cloud reacts perfectly. The grav well not even going to come through. Nat! He almost got that. It was close. 68 HP as SSK walks out with a round win.
I'm wondering if he's even going to want that operator. Just because he has Blade Storm and the finances are a little bit shaky. It might have even been better just to pick up a rifle for somebody else, but I guess he's hoping that he can maybe get the opening pick in one of these rounds. Again, though, as said, every round that we've seen so far from Navi has just been a blip. Like, there hasn't been any round streak together. It's almost every time it's been crushed. I think that's the best way of putting it. Every time they win a round, the next round they get crushed. And when there's 4, nearly 5 ultimates online for Mech, not really any problems with their finances either. I'll be damned. I think it's going to happen again.
Well, let's see. Same push out of Mech. Control over B main. Shot fired. Not landed. So B main control given up now. Mech fall back a little bit. Because they don't have that control, they're not rotating as quickly to the A site, despite seeing a lot of players here. It's giving Navi a good bit of space to work with.
Stop it.
That smoke down. Cross in. They made it to the site. They've got a plant here. Mech are going to play retake, and it's the lockdown to come through.
Okay, if Cloud plants, he has the Hunter's Fury. It means if lockdown goes in, he can destroy it almost instantly. They also have plenty of utility to be able to deny this, but the problem is the ult's on the other side. And already, you can see Duno getting tagged up, just about going to escape. They've also going to be able to take deep control on the other side. Now, they should be able to get rid of the lockdown, which is at least something, but they've already had to be forced back at least that little bit. The one player underneath, Duno, he manages to get 2. That's big. That gives them a real opportunity, especially with the lockdown on the other side, but just headshots not coming through. Shados has to fall back and still manages to take another one with him. And there is time. The shock not even going to be there. What? I think he's got it as well. Yeah, I think he's got it. Oh my goodness, how did they just manage to win these rounds from absolutely nothing? I'm left gobsmacked every time I watch this team.
No. That last round was just, that's a different level of, no. I need this entire replay. We've got a cosmic divide down. They get a nano swarm in. It's looking good. There's a nano swarm on the spike activated.
Oh, if you're Dinks, you gotta be so mad. You're a millimeter back and the round's yours. Like, there was 2 seconds to play with.
There's no way.
That's heartbreaking.
There's no way. You run that back 100, 1,000 times. I don't think you get that result in Mech's
you run
favor.
it back with any other team. I think that's a better way of putting it. Take any team in the world, you run that back, they're not winning.
That is unbelievable. I genuinely there's been some pretty unpredictable rounds, you know, over the last couple of weeks, but that was something else. Mech 9-3, really hammering home the point. They're looking so much better today than what we've seen in Navi. Well, the cracks are definitely showing. This pistol round, very important for the defensive side to pick up. They're already way too far behind. We know, you know...
Battle of the mid-wall spam in the pistol round. What are we even watching at this point? Let's see how much damage that they can do. Eye flying up. Oh, let's watch it. Flying all the way over. That's actually going to get rid of all of Dink's utility. That couldn't have been better placed if they tried. They literally are reading them exactly like a book. But Dinks is going to get one through the smoke.
All right. Saw enough of that out of Mech on defensive side. I think, yeah, they're definitely owed a few of those plays.
30 seconds left.
Now, if you have a chance, then door still to be broken. And for Mech, there's no three-dimensional play here. There's no flank up short. There's nothing crazy happening. 2 players close for this crossfire. Shock dart in. Don't think there's another to work with here. Not coming through anyways. They haven't decided to put it in. Cloud gets the kill. Follows up with another still. That shock dart online for him to fling on in. Recon on to Defo! But he takes them down. 10 rounds on the board for Mech. And this is starting to feel like a pretty quick series, Tom, if I'm being honest. With the prospect of Bind up next and Mech looking this dominant on Navi's pick. Woo!
Yeah. This is sort of, I think if you went into the beginning of the season and you said, how do you think Mech versus Navi was going to go? It would probably be like this. The problem is, I think we just almost got disheartened by watching how Guild play. And I think that's the difference. I think we're underestimating how good Guild are because we just expected Mech to put up a better fight. And I think that's the only difference here because... Again, like I feel like in the majority of the retake in that round, Navi were in the driver's seat, and then just someone pops off, gets 2 kills, and they get them in the crossfire. Like Navi have not been without opportunities, which sounds really weird considering it's 10-3, but it's just that multi-frag ability of the Mech players. It's just the depth of talent that they have over any other team. Now in this round, Cloud has at least got them an opener, but I don't know. I'm still not feeling confident.
Oh, the tag up SSK manages to get out of there pretty easily. Didn't get hit by the drone. Didn't get tagged up by the pistols. Oh, he did get tagged up by that, though. He quickly hightails it towards the site. Nats, though, is gonna catch him. There's no escape.
Flash.
Tag up Nats, but honestly, it's not too much of a bad thing. That could almost sell false information that he was somewhat of a lurker. They will have probably heard Chronicle, though, and he's just hightailing it straight in towards the site. Uno will fall, and yeah, it was just a blip on the radar. A single kill that ends up not really meaning too much.
There's the plan to come through and secure this one nice and easy. Zeddy with the Spectre maybe stands a chance of picking one off, but I would be surprised if we see anything other than exit frags. I don't think these guys are going to want to charge in and just throw their lives away for no reason. Oh, Yep. Exactly what I expected as
Go
well.
on. Get another one.
Put a sheriff.
Another one.
Down.
Good stuff.
They will lose a bulldog from this. Are they going to lose anything more? Chronicle's still fighting. Oh, okay. It's just a game of wall bangs and smoke kills at this point. 11-3. Mech still in a truly commanding lead. Now, we've always spoken about their attack sides in the past, Mitch. I don't think there's ever going to be a game where they don't manage to get 2 rounds from this point onwards. But maybe that's something that could sit in the minds of Navi of like, okay, it is possible, just unlikely.
Yeah. They're certainly facing a probable extinction on this map. And I guess it's tough if they do think about, as we said, bind up next. That's Mech's map. And coming into this series, if you expect a dominant scoreline, if anything you expect to be bind, looking at the fact that last time around, Navi didn't do too well on this map, but they've been versus Mech, right? But versus every other team, they've looked pretty good. So
yeah,
you start to think, okay, well, they will have fixed their issues and stuff like that. It won't be the same game again. Like we say, the hardest thing isn't to beat a team the first time, it's to beat them twice, right? After they've learned. You see those reverse sweeps, those lower bracket runs. We see it all the time. But here for Navi, I don't know if the lesson was learned. Well, I don't know if the lesson wasn't learned or if there's just a whole new lesson being taught here, but something's gone wrong.
He's just running. He's just running.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you always think about like all the plan that's been put into place by a team. Defo's just running at them. That's the plan. Defo go kill. Oh, double entry already. Bear in mind, they've still got 2 pistols. In fact, he has the only primary rifle here. The next best gun is a Guardian, and then you have an SMG and 2 pistols. He's got you a double entry. They're not even going to bother going and trying to retrieve the gun. They're just going straight in towards A shore, which, well, again, the pressure seems to be on Ding.
He's got to show up. Gotta be good to hold on for 1 or 2 on the way through. And he's shut down immediately. Said he's going to try to make up for that. He's on the side. He's DP'd in. Not a headshot on the Defo, leaving him on low HP. A chance for Cloud, perhaps. It's very difficult clutch indeed. Shock dart, good.
Oh.
Defo's down. Okay, he knows when player's down below. He saw the other go towards main. This is good information to play with here for Cloud. Game in the balance here, and well, Shados puts an end to any dream from Navi. It's 12-3. 9 consecutive rounds needed to close this one out. And then, of course,
Mitch,
you got
they haven't even had 2. They haven't even had 2 consecutive rounds.
Yeah, it's a big
and
ask.
You're asking for 9.
But now it's defensive
Let's
side.
not be silly here. Let's not be silly
Now
here.
it's defensive
They
side,
haven't
Tom.
even had 2 rounds in a row.
Favorite side,
and
easy.
They need 9.
It's their map pick, right? And they're on defensive side. This is the side they want to play.
Some of Jess's hopium and, well, it's gone way too far.
Oh, yeah, this is tough. This is very tough. Oh, here we go.
He's so good with the Hunter's Fury. This is something we saw previously as well in the last matchup from Cloud. Just able to almost blind fire it in while these go for these aggressive peaks. And what has been a relatively quiet game for him so far, well, their 4th round might just be on him.
They use it more like a smoke than they do like an actual weapon, using it to lock down a part of the map that they're pushing into, combine it not with another piece of utility, not with a grav well, but with a player, with a gun in hand. It's interesting. Flash gonna come through. Oh no!
Last player standing.
The smoke dissipated just as he popped the flash. Defo, good for 1. 3 more to go though, and 40 seconds on the clock. He's got time. He can maybe play some mind games. Looks like he wants to catch a flanker here. I'm not sure if the intention is to rotate all the way to A if he doesn't see anyone.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, I'd hope that Dinks isn't going to move past the threshold of where his alarm bot is anyway. So, like, they should have the information almost instantly the second he goes in that direction. You can see the angle he's holding as well almost rings true to that point. That Defo is going to give it away. And well, he has to go in this direction at this point. So you can see Dinks is just playing this one a little calm, making sure that there's not really any chance here and we'll make sure that the round is closed out in their favor. Big round coming out from Cloud. As I said, his Hunter's Furies have been fantastic throughout this tournament so far. The issue is, well, he doesn't have it this round.
Yeah. Cool gimmick to get around. Now do it 8 more times without the gimmick. That's the tough part. And look, nobody said it's going to be easy, but it's certainly a good start for them.
I wonder how much so the player who runs forward there, I think it's SSK, I wonder how much he comms for then the Hunter's Fury, because it's obviously a combo. Once he's dead, is he like giving up that information, like, okay, there's one here, and that can almost give him that extra kill? Because that would be pretty cool, but it's something we won't really know.
Oh my god. SSK. Quick kill, but they've gone
this
to
was a fake?
Yeah. They've been Cosmic
You sent
Divide.
in a Blade Storm and a no command
and
as
the
a
Cosmic
fake?
Divide. Triple ult fake. Meg have got control over A. Absolute lunatics. A strategy that you could not account for.
No.
There's absolutely no way. Just they've used all 3 ults on B. Yeah, I'm gonna stay A just in case. Like you'd be psychotic. Here we go. Big push coming through. Door still closed. That's an angle they don't have to worry about. It now gets opened wide. And then look, Chronicle staring at it. SSK is able to catch him off. They know that Nats is around Jenny. They're trying to spam him out. Jenny gets it done. Time, not really too much of an issue. They have plenty of players to get out there and close this one. So a 5th will be found. Navi will hold on a little bit longer.
Yeah, thank God. If they'd lost like that, it would have been depressing. I think obviously the idea is that the fake gets a lot more in terms of just value. Like you're hoping that either you can get into the site, maybe get a kill or 2, or at least like you bait the rotation and then you fall back. Instead, one of your players gets shortied, and while the updraft with the Blade Storm gets insta headshotted by Cloud. So if anything, it was just a solid B defense that ended up shutting that round down. And from then on, it's basically just patience in the retake. I do think the fact that Dink still had his alarm bot on short, though, definitely made things interesting, because I think otherwise you probably see quite a bit more coming through from Shados, because he has to take the shot on the player on short because the alarm bot will give him away. Or he was hoping that, obviously, Killjoy would get killed, and then he could just walk past all of it. So definitely interesting that ends up playing a bit of a part towards the end of the round, but ultimately it was a 3v5 after plan, and I think if Navi, as said, if they'd lost there, I don't think they'd have a chance to come back in the next map, because I think at this point you've already got to be quite frustrated.
You're definitely gambling on getting a lot more control out there on the fake. I mean, it's not a normal fake where you're like, oh, get a kill and fall back, or just make some noise. You've committed a Blade Storm, a Cosmic Divide, and a Null Command. This is somewhere that you need to walk out with value, and for them, they didn't. So the round kind of falls apart. Damn good attempt at a 3v5, but especially with the control that Navi had coming back in and sending 4 players straight through heaven, 1 through short late, it worked out perfectly. Again, though, problem's always going to be, I don't need to see 1, 2, 3, or 4 good rounds out of Navi. We got to see 9. We got to see him in a row. And, well, 2 ticked off. On defensive side, we'll see how they manage. Mech pulling out the rifles here for the most part. Spectre in play for Nats. And it looks like mid control to be attempted by both teams.
Yeah, still one fairly impactful online for them, and also the chance for another. But actually, Duno's gone in and got his null command instead. So just taking control of Orb early. You've also got the turret down on the other side on A to make sure that you're not going to see that lockdown in this round.
Good flash out of Zeddy. It's forced them completely back, but there wasn't really intention to follow up on that. Drone coming through. SSK in the corner, gone down right away. Chronicle ready for that one. Good setup from Mech. They have the advantage. They've got short control. Pressure applied to Dinks J. They get a one-way smoke in to try and deter any further aggression coming through. And for Mech, that's fine. They'll pump the brakes and they'll wait to see what's happened. They've got the wings covered. The turret is covering the A push for both teams. And, well, they're just going to wait, see what happens, and try to work a tiny bit more control. But in the next 10, 15 seconds, they're going to have to make some noise and start pushing aside.
Yeah, and it's going to be that move in. Cloud already being caught out. by the 0 point. Going to be in a little bit of trouble here. It does manage to get one at least. And no trade available. Doing well, but Defo's already taken out Duno. Nats is now going to drop Cloud. It leaves just a couple of players remaining, almost trying to bait them in, and it does work for Zeddy. That res looks unlikely. And in fact, he's trying to just keep you to the back of the site. I'm not even sure what the plan was there. Not really doing much other than getting a little bit of information, but, well, I think you could have been told that that information was there already.
They're going to panic the Sova on the ult at least. Give him a heart attack. Down goes Dingsjay, down goes Zeddy. And with that, 13-5 secured. Meg, get the likely outcome.
The thing is, both teams have made some pretty big, like, compositional changes. Like, it's easy to highlight the ones on Mech because you've got some people switching back to older roles. You've also got a pickup of a new agent. But on the other side of things, you've got Cloud playing a much more aggressive role. You've got the switch away from using Astra as well, which is something that we saw the last time they played it. They've also moved away from KO as well. So, yeah, a lot of changes here for Navi and, well, potentially a lot of teething issues.
Oh, Nat's on the way through. He's already closed up. They might not know that he's this close. You can see they've given up control over Lamps, but he's had a few opportunities there. How do you push forward to catch them off? Either way, he's just anchoring there for the time being. They're dragging those rotates to B. They're biding their time, and when the moment's right, that's when Nats is going to look to strike, take that back site. And Navi, they're not going to sit back and just let Mech do whatever they want. They've given up A, having rotated to B for a heal. Zeddy was gone. The other players pushed through Bath, but Mech seem ready for that as well. They've already got the contest. They started to use utility. They're fighting back, flashing sight, clearing it up. Nats now seeing that the backside is clear as well. They know they have these players trapped inside. Oh, that nade. That's bought them a little bit of time.
Small amount of denial, but that could be enough for some of the other rotations to come through. Peek out from Cloud though, and it's Shados. He's been on a flyer today. Already managing one with Zeddy! Okay, smoke kills are carrying on, it seems. They're going to grab the spike and try and, well, turn their tails in the other direction. Even still though, SSK hasn't moved. He is waiting for this, and with already some very heavily tagged players, there's a huge opportunity for him here.
Only 10 seconds. Zeddy already grabbing another on the way out, and that is clean from Navi. A commanding victory in the pistol round, setting off to a strong start on Bind. This is fantastic. I want to see what Mech go for here, though. Even if they're buying up a couple of pistols here and there, there's always going to be a chance on a map like Bind with a team like Mech.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. I will say again, this is another map where we've seen catastrophic attack sides from them in the past. So again, this is actually where Navi have a really good opportunity because Mech can be incredibly slow. Also, a lot of the time they'll give up quite a bit of map control. We even saw it in the last round. The amount of depth we were seeing in towards the bathrooms out from Navi is a bit of a scary prospect that they're able to get that much control when the plan is to go mid. Nats being back on Viper, though, nothing makes me happier in the world. This man is a lunatic on this agent. He pretty much taught everyone how to play the agent, and he's already got himself an opener, just lurking through in towards that A site, and already that's another kill coming through. This is falling apart for Navi.
They contained Cloud. He had nowhere to go. Trapped in by Redgar. The side is theirs. I mean, they're putting the smokes down for extra safety and security, but there's practically no need. They can get this plant now. There goes the wall as well. Really covering all their bases here.
Spike planted.
This is the kind of round, even with 5 players alive, there's a chance for Navi. They've got shields. They've got better weapons. They could come through and dominate these duels. So Mech are playing so cautiously. They're spreading out, covering their back, worried about that flank from Zeddy. But Zeddy has decided to save the weapon. He's not going for it. I mean, at least it doesn't look like it. Don't know, though, with the Spectre. He wants to try and get something done. But look at Mech.
Yeah, there's nowhere to be found.
They're just gone.
Of course. Even when you think you've got the drop on someone, they've actually got the drop on you. That's a grotesque round. Like, honestly, from start to finish. As said, seeing Nats being back on the Viper on this map, nothing makes me happier in the world. I think that his Viper bind was something that was so good, everybody stole his Viper bind and all the pieces he put together. Like, they weren't the first to play it. We know that Fnatic were doing that for a long time. It was the manner in which he did it. Even the fact that the poison orb basically had to be nerfed because of what he was doing. So, again, like, he's so good at just taking space and causing problems, and Navi just fell for it. And it's a thing that, again, with switching agents, with switching up of the meta, you're going to forget how good this guy was at that, but realistically, they need to be aware.
This is it. Like, we looked at the last event, Mech not making it all the way, and you know, there's a lot of discussion around that, but the one glaring thing that you have to look at is they're a sleeping beast, and they wake up, they can bring a whole nother level of play. Now, from what we've seen immediately, like, that pistol going to Mech, they didn't invest as much as I was even sort of thinking they might. I was expecting a lot of sheriffs, and they came in with even some weaknesses there, like your frenzies and such. But to get away with that second round, any sort of morale that was built up there for Navi got crushed. They lose the opening here with the Spectre. Now they're just getting systematically taken out. Look at that nade.
Spike planted.
It's just cleared Cloud into, well, only one spot. He still has his paint shells. Could look to try and clear some of the closer angles out from this spot, but I think he's just waiting for his teammates to make a move. Redgar in position, but they might actually have hit a pretty nice timing. He's going to look back around, and I think he may have actually tagged both of them there, but he didn't get either of the kills.
In the end, this is looking like, oh, a little bit more damage. It'll be fantastic. Dono's coming around. Shot to the body's good enough. Chronicle's gone. Okay, 2 kills. They walked out of that one. Not in the best spot, but they certainly won't be upset. They've recovered it towards the end, doing a little bit of damage, forcing some reinvestment. But the work has to be done here. And right away, Chronicle's coming through with an orbital strike. Thanks to all these kills that he's farming up with the Spectre. Now we get a little bit worried because you know what that orbital strike can do? You can essentially guarantee nobody's going to be playing over towards lamps for the next little bit.
Oh yeah, it's like the common spots, or you're going to throw it in lamps, you're going to throw it into the back of the B site, just make sure nobody can be in there. It makes things impossible to play against, and sure, it might be a first buy round, but look at what the purchase actually is here. Defo's already managed to take full control of lamps. They don't even need it. So he's just going to be so aggressively positioned, and Dinks has to be very careful here.
I have a feeling that they're going to end up trapping someone with Redgar's ability, and then taking him down with an orbital strike. At some point, it's going to be coming through. Obviously, Redgar and Defo's combo as well is just going to be scary, but the C's and the orbital strike, it gives me a weird feeling. We'll see if any of that comes through. Chronicle's gone. Okay. Defo too. Those are huge kills. Navi. Oh! They just fall like dominoes.
Yeah, I feel like Nats, all he can really do here is just try and hold on to the weapon. Like, he does have himself the utility trying to deny them, but it's not going to work out. Just going to try and catch someone on the way out, but not really wanting to throw in any more of their finances to this round. And Navi, impeccable in the retake. It definitely seems like Mech got caught out with just players taking individual duels, not really having much of a crossfire. And as you mentioned, it looked like they had some sort of plan for that afterplant, but it got disrupted by Navi.
Yeah, I do wonder if on Mech's side that's maybe an over-reliance or overthinking in that scenario about the utility that they had, right? Like, I'm looking at all these post-plan setups coming through, and then you get Chronicle just bang, out of the round right away. Orbital strikes gone, losing a lot of your bit, like your molly and everything. Like, I think that was a little bit of an oversight. We'll see if it's replicated. Huge for Navi, though, way back in. Forcing Mech to reinvest everything, put their economy on the line, and look at this op. SSK spotted though, and they're not going to be swinging this wide. In fact, I end up using an orbital strike on a chamber.
That might be a little much, but I guess they really didn't want him in an aggressive position. Chronicle's going to get the entry onto Zeddy anyway. They've still got to be careful of that closer spot. They're going to know that the Seekers came from that exact angle, so realistically, not really a necessity to go back for that fight once again. And as we know, Mech love to play these attack sides incredibly calm, incredibly slow. So after they've worked the pick, they just fall back.
I can't figure that one out, man. I mean, the last round we have a retake going on. orbital strike doesn't get thrown away, but using it on a chamber on long beside the teleporter, even if it isn't a chamber. Strange. Oh, Mech have burned up the ultimate, but still caught Zeddy. Close in on the site. Viper on left, and DinxJ, they can't hit the shot. Redgar putting on a fantastic performance so far. That nade gonna do some serious damage, but they can heal it right back up, and it's worthwhile to just stick the plant.
Yeah, they actually almost killed off Nats. Even still, though, a lot still to be done. Nice work from Cloud. Already gets the entry, the trade back, but still, they've diminished the advantage that was there. Flash through, but Shados on the other side. He dodges it, but doesn't manage to connect the shots. Looking a little bit shaky at this point in time. Duno has caught another, and they know where Nats is. Duno just going ham, leaving Chronicle left alone. And while they may have put a molly onto that after plant, but it's not going to be enough. There should be plenty of time for this defusal.
Fantastic stuff. And that's not the first round that we've seen Duno have that kind of impact so far in this map alone. Retaking in, he has been fantastic. And I think seeing him on the sky here, the comfort level definitely seems way up. The way he's using the flashes to initiate into a lot of these fights, right? Like he can he can just leave it, let it fly all the way around, duel after, and the confidence, I guess, to take a lot of these fights as well. He's looked really good on bind. I want to see much more of this. 3-2. Navi, you're going to need more of it. You're going to have a chance.
Yeah, the main question here for me, though, is the fact that Mech now have had a couple of afterplants that realistically look pretty poor. Like they're being picked apart in 1v1 scenarios. It's going to be a pace change straight in towards this B site, but already losing that opening battle, and Zeddy has caught a sick. Of course.
Well, that's an interesting one. Oh, the molly doesn't make it through the door.
He was dead, by the way.
Oh, the blast pack went off after.
He got a blast pack martyrdom. I didn't think you realized how ridiculous that was, by the way. That's so dumb and must be infuriating for Zeddy. You got martyrdomed by a blast pack.
Absolutely no one was paying attention to it. No one accounts for it. Oh, we killed the Raze. All right, don't worry about it. There's no nade floating around. I like this position for DinxJ. And all the way through A. There's a ballsy push to play for. It's just flashed outside B long, nobody there. Ball goes up on A in response. Lots of noise.
30 seconds left.
There's the information. DinxJ has a super early flank. Now, the key thing here is Mech don't have any utility to cover behind, so they can be worried about B aggro right around this point.
Spike planted.
DinxJ could catch timing still, but entirely depends. They're looking at them coming through from B site. They're not thinking about DinxJ being in this position. Oh, I thought Shados was going to end up getting the jump. They trade him out. Chronicle left to 1 HP. Nats up against the shorty, and it's SSK to take it. Chronicle's got to do it with 1 health, and the shorty takes him down as well.
I really hate how this gun's coming back into fashion. Watching it more and more recently. Who is it the other day? It was Durka. Fighting mid in a pistol round with the shorty. I'm like, no, that's not what this was made for. They didn't design it like this. But it's working out. And again, Navi in retakes. A 3v3 the round before. What was that? A 4v2, I think. Mecha not looking good in these afterplants. I'll give them a bit of slack this time because I think Dinks played that excellently, as you said. But even still, they're being picked apart by just, I guess, off-the-cuff plays from Navi.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Duno in those 2 rounds as well. As I said, absolutely huge. The all 5 kills that he's had. Showstopper used up here. Defo's tagged to 30, and the TP was taken out by SSK. It's gotten them some space. It might get fired in the right direction. No, it won't. Nothing. Oh! No! How can he? What? How can he get 3? How can? Oh, this is just ridiculous.
Spike planted.
It's a low buy round, Tom.
Yeah, they've got to save. Leave. Just get out of there. Don't face against Redgar. What Like, what is he even doing there? And he just decides to run through their smoke. I think he knows that he can. So one thing I will say, I'm pretty sure Cloud was spamming through a smoke with a Vandal. So it's like, it was an easy counter spray to do enough damage. I am almost certain he didn't know there was a second player there. Because, like, to run through that in the other direction, kill the first, and then obviously he already knows that he's done some damage to Cloud, but again, it's like you give the credit to Navi for these like fantastic retakes, and then you just have a round like that where you're like, I can't really blame you for that, but at the same time, he had a Spectre and ended up with 3 kills.
Within, I think, 3 seconds.
Yes.
Swapping out weapons in between as well. Oh my god, man. It's the op holding him and everything. That is just unreasonable. Well, Redgar's walked out with a 3rd round for M3C. I don't know if that's repeatable.
You never know when it's them.
That's the thing.
Okay, good start. Cloud now onto the op. Doesn't matter too much. They got the information he was there already. Now, they've tried to fake out the TP early, but then there's actually someone in it. So it's almost like the double bait and switch. And SSK, he's going to go back through his work perfectly. That's a beautiful little setup from Navi. A surprise knife in the back from SSK. Using that fake out early. And while now, only 2 remain.
When that's on 10 HP, it's certainly not the most likely round to go their way. Another great display from Navi. Their consistency in these defensive rounds has been fantastic. And the contrast between this and the previous map is... I mean, this team has definitely done some thinking. In that little break that we had now. The 10 HP Nats will complement his Viper all day long, but this... a little bit too much to ask. Left. I think he's already contemplating the save on this one.
Yeah, especially with how a lot of these rounds have been going. Okay, you got a huge boost in economy for the last round, but even still, you don't want to throw everything at them, especially with how Navi have been playing on the defensive side. And that's the unfortunate truth here. Like, I feel like there's a world, firstly, for Mech, where they could be very far in the lead if they manage to hold on to the afterplants that they've had. But the same could be said for Navi. Like, they've had some fantastic afterplant rounds, and then it's almost like the opposite of the last map, where Mech have had a few blips, like basically on the radar, where they just aggressively run into the site and just win a round off an individual play. And that's the tough thing for Navi, is like, obviously because they're on that defensive side, it needs to be a strong half. But if this happens even just like every couple of rounds and like Mech come out with 5, I still have the utmost faith that they'll win it on defense.
I think that's always going to be the concern, right? It's the trades back and forth. It's Mech building up a slow and stable lead. Now, this timeout, it can't come as too much of a surprise. Start by saying orbital strike online, and last time that got used in a very inefficient way. I think they're not going to be looking to repeat that. But also the fact that you're coming into this, the last couple rounds that you've only had the rifles to work with. I mean, the only thing that got them the round on the board was the ridiculous play out of Redgar, right? And that was even with the likes of a showstopper and stuff to entry. So, yeah, a little bit concerned for them. And this timeout makes perfect sense. They're clearly feeling that brick wall that they're hitting up against a lot of the time and trying to break this Navi defense. And coming into a round where they've got 4 ultimates to work with on the defensive side, this is definitely somewhere to approach with extreme caution.
I think the other side as well, though. You got orbital strike on Mech, but you've got everything basically online on the other side. So even if the economy goes a bit rough, you're still going to have yourself a tour de force. You got the showstopper. You could throw the Viper's Pit in. There is so much available for Navi to win this round that I'll almost be a little bit disappointed if they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Mech, you can see they've spread out the blanket, trying to take that coverage across the map and catch a couple of players as they make their way through. No one from Navi is giving up those opportunities, though, and with SSK lurking around with an op. Oh, here we go. Navi are going to just go straight on in. Retaking control over B long. Op shot now connects as Chronicle tried to poke out on the extremities. That means that the Op's right back on the site, ready to take the duel. 3 players on A site. Nats needs to have a huge lurk, but they're watching them. They have more than enough players to keep an eye on this angle, and there you go. The punishment comes in. That hasn't bought them any space elsewhere on the map, though, because you still got a 2-man B hold.
Again, we're going to see the Haunt thrown in just to try and give the information at the back of the site while they try and avoid it. He's dashed straight into his face. What? Well, Dudo has managed to survive at the back, buying time. He's been fantastic so far in this map. Come on now, Shados, the last man standing. He's pulled out miracles in the past, but this would have to be the best of them. Every player now starting to surround his position, and Cloud will take the ego peak and finish him off.
6 on the board, and old Tom, it didn't cost them any of those ultimates that we talked about. Oh. They didn't need any
Seekers,
of it.
Sort of. They didn't have it, and then he had it,
yeah,
and then he used it.
Sure. But you come into this round, you have Cloud with a showstopper, a Viper's Pit available. Yeah. SSK might even be playing his ultimate, or just the Vandal inside of B.
He gave the op to Cloud. Like, he had that at the beginning of last round because he got the kill onto Chronicle, so I wouldn't be overly surprised if he popped it.
Nothing just yet. From early contact, they've spotted the operator in the hands of Cloud now. It's going to send some alarm bells ringing. Elsewhere, trying to take control over Hookah. That's where SSK has a good chance. That boom bot not going to clear him out. Got a little angle. They're conscious of it. They've shot him in the kneecaps. Only the 1 bullet, and he TP'd out.
Yeah, can't really blame him, especially when you know that your opponent on the other side only has a sheriff. Not worth the risk. Like, even if you manage to win that draw and you're traded, that's good enough for Mech. So, playing it a little bit more safe might be the other reason he's not used the operator in this sort of round. Either way, we are going to have Nightfall going in onto the site. It will give the information over as they try and put the pressure on. Such a good counter piece of utility, though. Paranoia used just to deny completely, and although Nats will get 1, that might be all she wrote.
This is such a strong defense from Navi. I mean, they're really starting to convince and convert me. They're not relying on any crutches again. Still having most of these ultimates online. There's no panic. There's, like, after the first map, their pick, where they got absolutely destroyed, embarrassed. And then they come through here and, I mean, they're taking Gambit to lengths that a lot of teams internationally can't. So to say I'm impressed is an understatement so far, and there's still plenty of time to go. Again, the next half, I think, is going to be a very different occurrence. I think Mech look a lot better there, and it'll be tough for Navi. But if they keep this pace, even end up with the 8 rounds on the board, they've got a serious chance.
Oh, they've sectioned out 1, but SSK has been fantastic again. Finding that opener off the back of the operator, the orbital strike basically achieving nothing, and now once more they're reliant on Nats, but he wins the duel. It will just be a trade out. They need to clear out Cloud, and they haven't managed to do so. But even still, that's fine for Navi.
Oh, very nice shot out of Dinks J. Complete control for Navi, 4v2. Operator still pushed all the way up on B. They're worried about maybe a player being inside Hookah already, but they have got so much control. In fact, SSK is still pushing, and this is letting those players on the A side feel that little bit more comfortable conceding space. You can see that it's possible to get a plant on truck, for example. I don't even think that Navi would deny that. It's just a case of, well, yeah, if you want to plant truck, but we've got a flank coming in. We have you contained completely. Oh, the timing is terrible. Whew.
Okay, Juno's got his brother's back. That's good to know. Good to know. And double peak, not going to give a chance to Shados. This has been clean. Last few rounds, no real criticism to be had of Navi. I think the fact that they've had Zeddy saving his paranoia for like counters almost directly. You've had these aggressive plays from SSK, which is basically just given a free opening kill almost every single time. And then the getaway, which it is basically what he would be doing on the Jet prior, but obviously now it makes a hell of a lot more sense to be running it on the Chamber. And overall, they look a lot more comfortable than they did on the previous map.
A lot more. I mean, they didn't have a moment of comfort on the previous map. That's not the lineup. Oh, that spray good for one. Chronicle still going in. And he trades it out. Puts Mech into the lead. Cloud. Oh, that's not gonna... It did land? Oh, okay. I thought he was far enough around, but Defo's down. Sure, they trade Cloud, but he's done well enough from that spot. See if they can maybe pull something else off. There's a Judge in the hands of SSK. He's got his ult, the Judge, and a Headhunter. This is just a ridiculous lineup, and they've taken down Nats.
Too predictable. I said team started to read this, man. It seems like Navi, they got caught out in the first couple of rounds, but the afterplants have achieved nothing. Sure, the Molotov will buy a little bit of extra time, but there is so much left on the clock.
It was a duh moment from SSK. Jumps on it, but it's not getting body blocked, unfortunately. 9 on the board at the half. That is remarkable. I'm gobsmacked by this performance once again. After that first map, Navi were asleep at the wheel, and this has been lights out. Sure, I have faith in Mech's defensive side, no doubt about it. This is their map pick after their performance first map. This is still going to be a tough half for Navi, but Tom, they've done more than enough here in my eyes. 9 rounds, this should be their map.
Yeah, especially when you look at the fact that, well, basically round 7 was the only round. Obviously, you had the weird start to the game, which a second round victory that definitely shouldn't have happened. But if anything, that's a better sign for Navi. That means both rounds were basically just individual plays. They were better the whole half, and then just a few cheese rounds that came through just off the pure brilliance of some of the Mech players. So,
I'll find you.
As a team, only one team has been in it so far.
The tides have most certainly turned. Let's see if things can change around a little bit more. That actually connected onto all 3 players. They're so low. The nade going through deep. The spam up close, but no kills, no damage, nothing found at all. In fact, Navi, they step right up to the plate. They're taking all the frags. Redgar's down. It's the Trailblazer that takes the kill. And so a 2v3. But Dunno and Dinksj both quite low, though. And Dunno has the heal online. They could have a chance to at least get Dinks up to 100.
Scout destroyed.
The thing is, they've got to reroute this spike back around. Chronicle, I don't think they expected him to be this far forward, but it now leaves a bit of a weird split. The remaining attackers, a chance for Chronicle to take an individual duel, but he doesn't win it. That opportunity quickly diminishes itself as both players from Navi opt to move together, and while going to hear the footsteps of them rotating away, potentially heading to B. Oh, never mind.
Well, yeah, they're not
read it
now.
He has read it. Like, he did that intentionally.
Here we go. Plant coming through. Chronicle knows he's made the right read.
Spike planted.
Oh, the smoke concealed him from the flash. But it's all about timing, right? They're going to pop something else. They have another flash to work with. That's likely to make its way. It's just about whether it goes now or whether their backs are turned. Here comes Chronicle. The timing is perfect around the corner. But Seni, he gets it done. Luckily, he was full HP. I think he still had some shields to work with as well. That ends up being more than enough to bring it across the line. 10 rounds for Navi, and with this pistol, I have to say they cannot lose this map. This should be Icebox.
No, especially you've won both pistols now. Obviously, second round didn't go your way last time. That's the only way I can really see this not going your way this time. Like, Mech would have to pull off a mammoth comeback, and as you said, we've seen it in the past, but in this map so far, they've been completely outclassed. So you're looking at 16-4 for SSK, 12-3 for Duno. Like, both of them have just been having an absolute worldie of a performance.
And Defo falling right away. Mech pushing up on A, and well, Navi have got the other side of the map all to themselves. Smoke up and hookah, push out long, easy plant. And then we just got to see if Mech can make this costly. Again, from this position, you're going to be looking for exits for the most part, hoping you can catch a couple of players and make it costly. But with the fact that they haven't even taken hookah, right, they're not going to fight for that control. They're going to play distance. It should be pretty hard to get caught off guard. And look how cautious they're being as well, avoiding taking individual fights on Belong. I like this a lot from Navi. This should be a clean round.
SSK might be somewhat stuck in the mud, but he's got teammates to support him. Duno wanting to try and pad those stats, get those ultimate orbs online, and well, it leaves just Nats, and they are literally predicting every move he's made. 11-3, Navi utterly dominating. And while this is the last-ditch effort for Mech, they lose this round, and they're going to have to go in with next to nothing.
Yep. Content to try to make this a 13-11 scoreline. They've kept themselves pretty light in the previous round. Investing here, it's where they got to make their final stand. After the first map that we had, it's kind of strange to be in this position. Certainly not somewhere I imagined we'd be, but well, it's time to put that defensive side to the test for M3C, for Mech. See if they can make it work. See what... Yeah, I'm sorry.
Get out.
Oh, they naded back up, right?
Oh. Not going to be able to take anybody down. At least a little bit of damage. Nat's still trying to hold on to that control, but hasn't really been able to do so. They're fighting tooth and nail for this round, but Zeddy is going to be the one to get the opener. Trade back onto one, but it's desperately low for Nats, and well, the run and gun doesn't really achieve much more. The rifle's rotating in from above, an opportunity for Shados, but not taken.
They need a kill. They need something real soon, because Navi, with the advantage to play with, a judge up close as well, Nats can't challenge that. Even at range, she'll end up losing that fight. Zeddy's being spotted, flashed through. Nats catches Dinks J before Zeddy finishes him off. The molly is on its way. That should force Zeddy out of position. He's taken down, but too many players remain for Navi. 12-3. They are set after an embarrassing start to this series on their own map. They could just dish up one of the most dominant defeats that Mech have seen on Bind to date. This is a strange turn of events, if anything.
No, they've put the work in. They've changed up their composition to basically give them more of that explosive nature that we've seen from this squad in the past, allowing players like SSK to flex a little bit more. Duno as well. I think this is one of the best Sky performances we've seen in a long time. And yeah, realistically, they've looked by far the better team. And on the other side of things, well, Defo 5-12, Shados 4-12. Like, these are incredibly quiet performances from superstar players. So Mech might have to go back to the drawing board on this one. And Navi, I'm even going to make him sweat a little bit here. Have they really taken a timeout at this point?
I think it's the right call. Let them sit in it. Let them realize where they are here on Bind and the big task that now sits in front of them. This comeback is... well, it's very unlikely.
Well, the thing we had to mention going into the day as well is after Navi lost their initial matchup to, I guess, one of the teams we don't necessarily expect to be qualifying. Like, we're looking at Liquid, Guild, and Mech as the three favorites. I don't think that's really arguable, and unless you're Zesht. But realistically, if they win this one, they're back in contention, because that means realistically Mech are 0-2 and are going into that relegation battle rather than challenging for a playoff spot, because they'd have to win every other game. And again, you've still got the likes of Liquid to play, and we don't know which direction that match will go in. So scary times for Mech. Of course, this is only map 2 of potentially 3, and you know, we haven't seen much Bind. The next map we've seen a lot of.
Yes we have, Tom. Quite familiar with the old Icebox, aren't we? Looks like we'll be making its acquaintance again. Navi, they were putting a lot of pressure on B, but rotations are coming through. SSK didn't manage to find anybody pushing up. Feels like that timing would be just right, but Mech they're not going for it. They're not overextending. Redgar set and spawn. Got his lineup ready. Fire up and away, but that's for the B side. He's got to go to A quickly now because they're hearing the noise. They're seeing the players. One already all the way through, coming up behind them. Cloud's going to get dealt with. Still got that control over mid. The Viper utility up and online. Defo's getting close. Defo's getting up in their face. He's walking all the way through. They've caught him. But he's still got teammates here.
I'm the Guardian. The man is actually insane, but I guess his teammates are there to pick up the slack. Duno has no sound, of course. because night has fallen, and well, it is going to be a 4th round. Still some absolute manic decision making being made from Mech. Like, I was looking at the initial position from Defo with a Guardian, and I'm like, you're already mad. And then he tried to push into the smoke with it, but I guess disrupting for the rest of his team, and Mech, well, they got their first round in the defense.
The first of many if they're to take this. An OT push, 8 consecutive needed, and they're starting out here with a Spectre and a Bulldog. That round win doesn't mean that they're flowing in credits. In fact, the opposite. Reveal coming up above. That's going to be catching the player in the corner. I mean, good luck to you now. Those players, though, paranoid and pushed on back. Mech give up the control completely. Good counter. Although it does mean that a very expensive and very valuable PC utility on Navi is now gone. Paranoia trade for that.
That's the thing, though. That has been what Zeddy has been doing almost every single time. Like, if somebody has been pinged up, he's almost just gone, okay, well, I'm just going to make sure you can't see where they are either and just nullifying any of that utility that's been coming through from Redguard. It actually looked like an incredibly good counter from them. Already, Seeker's going to go out, stun up, dead. Lovely taken towards Hookah. They've also caught out Defo as well, leaving just 3 players to try and hold on here, and they're going to go rotating.
Well, that's a Scott Dunno, but the rest of the team going towards the A side. I'm not sure how much more they can find. Cloud down. He was lurking inside of Hookah. Now it's time to make your way over towards A. And Navi, well, they're well and truly bunkered in here. They've got a Viper's Pit and 2 satellite players working around it, leaving Dinks J to hold it late. While the rest look for some of these players. They've spotted no one up above Zeddy, undetected. He's got some great timing here. They're not watching it at all. Smoke covering him slightly, but he has an angle around it. And there it is. Redguard taken down. A good pounce from Zeddy, a good late angle to play with. And they still have to root Dinks J out. He's got a snake bite. That's going to buy them, I think, enough time at this point. They're both 1 HP. Zeddy's just cleaning house. And Navi have taken it 13-4. New era. Now, Tom, we're about to see Mech play a different style. I'm curious, though, what is the idea? What exactly, why the brim? Let's find out. Chronicle's just pushing mid here in the pistol anyways, making sure they're not slipping through that orb.
just now I'm on 1 HP. I'm ready to fight. There's a lot of space already taken for Navi. Of course, on their side of things, composition quite a bit more normal. I'll be honest, like, it's not anything too crazy. Also, Sageless comp as well on the other side, which again we know how impactful it can be with getting you those after plants. So there has to be a plan, there has to be an idea, and there is a fair amount of utility available for the side of Mech, which will definitely make things a lot more interesting because it's something that a lot of teams almost have to surrender to play these slightly more aggressive comps.
And goes the shock. Nothing connected on it. Chronicles right back into that orb. Take a little bit of extra decay. Why not? He still hasn't spotted anyone, but there's the cross. One moving towards A. That's the only information they've got to work with. They're playing super hard retake on this. I mean, Mech are not looking to contest on the actual site. They're just looking to fire through a little bit of utility. Make it a little bit costly for them. I think these shock darts are about to come through. Oh, pinpoint.
Oh, already. Gonna see an early trade, but the afterplant's already in for Navi, so it needs to be a move on here for Mech. A lot of damage done onto Zeddy. They're starting to take quite a loss in these duels so far, even if it was still an even scenario. A 3 versus 2. Afterplant not really having much left within it in terms of utility, just trying to spam off it, and they actually don't have an angle at all. Dinks doesn't realize they're just defusing behind the edge, and Defo is going to clean things up. It's Mech to kick things off with an early round win, and while Navi, they get the plant, maybe they can invest a little bit more here.
I think so. Decide to put a little bit in if they're feeling confident. Attack side icebox. I think it's tough to make a lot of things work, but pulling out like a Marshall to go for some high ground fights, you've got a Headhunter already to work with. We can definitely see some investment. For Mech, though, that 1-0 is up. They're taking out a Guardian on Shados with some light shields and a Vandal for Defo. Interesting. Especially the Vandal for Defo, of all people, already having his Headhunter to work with. It's interesting that they're they're allocating it that way. But I guess they're really wanting, because he's already got 3 orbs, they're wanting him to take a lot of fights. He's on range on B, and if they come his way and he can clean them up, that's tour de force online.
Yeah, I think as well, it's just his play style. Like, he is their hardcore entry almost. Like, you see it on the attack side of Ascent. He's just running down mid in a round where they only have 1 rifle. Like, that's what they expect from this man. They've also left him as the solo hold on the other side as well, so it's just going to give him that extra bit of range with not the same amount of risk that would be there if he was just playing that pistol. So, again, I think you're definitely correct in sort of earning up those orbs, but I also just think it's a defo thing we just have to accept.
Here we see Chronicle, and don't know how often this is going to be a thing, but that smoke going down, one of the ways, I guess, that he's got this agent out for. Again, you got to think like he's playing this instead of a Sage, right? Like, in a way, they still have their smoker, but he's coming in as a secondary, so it's a very different look. And up against these pistols, obviously, it should have a lot of success. The defensive side should just wash over them. Just the 1 kill so far. Another would be fantastic. Jados is pushing them with a Guardian, though, because he doesn't want them to have a kill. And they still got Navs.
Yeah, they did. They've managed to at least do a little bit of damage along the way. It's not bad for Navi. Realistically, they're now going to be coming in with a much better purchase themselves.
Player standing. Spike down A.
Yeah, it's really nice having a round like that. Still losing the 2 players, I think it's going to be a little bit disappointing for Mech, considering they had a chance to go out a little bit cleaner. But the key weapons are saved over. They're kept into this round. And they're going to be put to the test now. Navi on a full buy. Moving towards B side. Defo not going to get caught up by that knife. Oh, sorry, of course, it's his teammate's knife that was going through. I was like, how the hell did that not catch him? But Navi not running the KO, so that'd be impressive if they could suppress him.
Uh-oh. Got to get out of there. Not taking the risk. Now, there are still a couple of rifles available for Mech in this round, so it's not quite as safe a scenario as you might necessarily expect for Navi, and with Defo still playing such an aggressive stance. Bear in mind, he did just use his rendezvous to escape, so there isn't much of an escape plan here till he gets that back online, which will be coming through in just a moment. Now, a much bigger danger. In fact, he's straight in. He doesn't even wait a split second. He's like, right, I can take the fight now. And already 1 player of Navi is gone.
Oh, that's not a nice fight for SSK. Defo following through with another, and Mech, they're locked out from behind that Viper wall, but no Viper to put it up, and that's really going to be an issue for Navi in closing in the distance. You know, how do you plant on B at this stage? You got to get close enough to put the wall down, but I mean, Mech have got all their players here ready to take the fight as they come on through.
Looking to try and get into that after plant. Wall going to be going down. Still a fair amount of counter utility here. The Molotov could be put through. Instead, it's actually going to be the snake bite that does some damage. Nice shot from Cloudy. Expects the repeat, but Defo is just landing every shot. That rifle investment definitely seems to be worthwhile so far. You can see them trying to clear out the flanks, put some utility down, but there are so many players about to be pushing into this position.
The Nano for extra security. Thrown through. Buys them a little bit of time. Defo's on another and a 5th to close it out. Well, that just about trumps any other strategy that I can think of. Send this guy out and he'll take the whole team.
So Mitch, are you still not happy with the rifle on Defo?
No, I think if anything, I already justified it.
Yeah, I know.
Also, my man is 8-0, so I doubt there's anyone who's on that. Actually, let me correct that. I doubt there's anyone who's not a Navi fan who's upset.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. They're probably like, please, mercy. But yeah, I think especially on the defensive side, this agent's almost made for him. It gives him multiple attempts to actually have that get out of jail free that you'd normally get with the Jet. And also, obviously, Jet's been nerfed, so it is an even more damning scenario. He's already got that tour de force. No surprise there. He's got more kills than orbs needed. But Cloud's going to get the opener hit. What?
Poison's off.
Right.
What? Why did SSK just get wrecked?
And spammed. Oh, the drop. It's being heard. They quickly flood into kitchen and take the control. Drone, what's it going to do for you? 2 guys there. Not the info that he really wanted to work with. Defo left on 5 HP, can't contest it anymore. Shock dart through, still not doing what they want for it. There's a chance for Navi to do some serious damage here. Nats on the flank. Oh, well, that wide swing was well timed. He's left on 7 HP, barely hanging on. Mech are, I mean, they're making a mess of this round, but they're still ahead in a 3v2. Navi split up completely. The spike going towards A as Cloud falls. I think they've just about recovered this.
Chronicle's already here. He's definitely going to know now with the orb being taken. It's just about Duno getting what he can. He's just going to break the wall straight away. Easy cleanup, and to be honest, I feel like Mech were lucky to actually survive that with 3 players. Like, there's so many risks taken. Like, the fact that Nat survives is somewhat ridiculous because he runs into basically a pincer of the remaining couple of players, and Duno just makes the decision of, I've got to try and get this spike down, so I can't really fight him anymore. But yeah, a lot of aggression coming through for Mech in this round, and okay, they get away with it, but I almost wonder if that was just a test. Like, okay, how much can we push this Navi side? How much can we get away with this if we wanted to try this in a rifle round?
Defo has got a shorty. And nothing else. Good to see. Of course, the man's going to be popping his ultimate, looking to take some early aggro down through mid. He's already pushed underneath the tube, and now has this team completely contained within A. His trap is covering B, and that's all the map control that they need, at least theoretically. Mid and B held by 1 player and 4 left to defend A. This setup is nasty, and Navi have no idea. They're going to walk back and clear their behind, but the fact that they've left this trap halfway, it tells you they are going A, and they're going to run right into the stack.
Yeah, this is a huge issue for them here. There's also a null command available as well to just take away that utility. You're going to see an early pop of the ult to try and do some damage, try and force them out of position, but with everybody here, it's just an impossibility. And just look how much utility there is. Molotovs combined with snake bites, well, you can't run through that anymore. 35 seconds up and coming on the clock, and they're still exactly where they started.
Defo hasn't moved a muscle, still locking down that cross, and Navi will still run into the stack, but they have a good idea that there's a bunch of players here. Good kills in favor of them, and leaving Defo to 1v2 it. That is a perfect play for what they ran into, but they still need to deal with the tour de force. And there's the first shot already landed. No idea where SSK is. He'll assume he's just killed the planter, and now you've got to find this final player. Moving around the back of the site, rifle in hand. Does he check up above, though?
Oh, he might see him. He's going to see him, but SSK turns around just in time to give Navi their first round. It's not a clean one, and you have to bear in mind that Defo was already saving cash for this next round, so it's a round on the board. It's something for Navi, but if anything, this purchase is going to come back even stronger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at Defo, operator in hand right away. Had his tour de force last round. He's going to come in with the same kind of play style this time around. And yeah, actually the exact same setup coming through. You see the anchor placed inside of kitchen. You've got the trap down outside of B, covering for that knife early to see if they're there. Nothing spotted. They'll just play off the trap now, and that gives Defo the freedom to play aggressively up in the mid, but the shot does not land. Huge punish by Cloud.
He's had a couple of impactful kills that basically have just denied that extra space, and now this becomes quite a bit more difficult. Sure, you've still got the double initiator to find you information that will be coming back online over the next 10 to 15 seconds.
Here.
The thing is, though, he's actually spotted him changing out the guns. I don't know if that's going to make a difference to the push, and by the looks of it, no. Navi is still looking to head into A.
Looking for Mech. I've still got the 3 players around here. Orbital strike coming through. 55 seconds, though. That's not too much of a concern unless Mech can follow up on the back of it. And, well, it just delays a couple seconds. In comes a lockdown. Nats wants to make a play, but they're ready. They're waiting. Dingsj wants this to happen. He's going to be caught off, though. Lockdown destroyed, and Nats is out.
Gets away.
You will not kill my ally.
He's also put down the Viper's Pit. Although he's low on HP, if he can just survive at the back and his teammates can just play around it, now becomes the Observer's nightmare of both being down at the same time. trying to spot within them the other players. Redgar with a chance for a multi-kill, but they're trading so effectively. Navi looking strong on the fundamentals. Now Nat's just trying to hide within this Viper's pit. He's gone up above. He's found a position over the top. He's going to be able to trade onto the player, putting that spike down. Even still, though, the advantage sits firmly with Navi.
Oh, that shot's not landed! And SSK TP's above! Goes down, and Nats on the rope. We're equalized in a 2v2. Shados dives down and is taken out. It's all on Nats' shoulders. 30 HP and a dream. Taps it, discard, gets 4 kills. What an attempt from somebody so low on health, who had so much impact, destroyed the lockdown and everything. I mean, what a round out of Nats, but it's not enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he took nearly all of the damage off that initial fight. So the remaining 3 players, he was just better on positioning. He was maneuvering around, and obviously the TP back from SSK. I feel like we've now had like every chamber just being caught in such an awful spot because of where they placed their rendezvous. But no, Navi, they managed to get through it. They used quite a fair amount in terms of ults in that round. Like you obviously saw the Res, Viper's Pit, Tour de Force all utilized. The thing is though, so did Mech. They threw a lot into the last couple of rounds and didn't manage to take it. Now, financially, it's a little bit weird. Like, Nats might be able to play around a rifle. You could see Defo, well, in our minds, hopefully drop a rifle, but probably not. If he's going to have it, I imagine he'll play it himself. And, you know, he's been performing well enough. I guess we can't really frown upon it.
Yeah, well, look, there's not going to be any question about that. I think the defensive side setup of aggressing on mid and having your trap B is really cool. But the downside being when you get caught in the way that he did, you're not going to do it the next round. Now the setup has to change, and we're seeing that there where Defo's going to trap up Kitchen. And they're going to go back to a much more conventional hold. I do also like that they knife up B early and then rotate if they don't get contact. I think just having this B or A every round is essential for every team to grab that information.
Oh. We are going to see, I know, a decent purchase. Like, there's a few pieces of utility missing here and there. But other than that, Mecha are very much still within this round. Defo's still trying to be a little cheeky. But obviously, he's got that rendezvous available to get out. It's not like there's anywhere near as much risk as normal, though. He's going to go for the swing, and they are ready for it now. Fool me once, but it hasn't happened a second time.
Yep, that kill's huge. Again, traps down. Don't have to deal with Defo. You do have to deal with Nats coming out on mid, but even despite a good headshot to Dinks J, 1 health remaining. Just going to get healed right back up. Be pretty healthy as they make it to the site and have a 5v3 post plant, presumably.
He does have himself a Hunter's Fury.
30 seconds
Waiting
left.
for that plant to go through. Can even have the recon to potentially give him that information if he wanted to go for it. Instead, it's just the spam, but Cloud has managed to find another. He's going to deny it, though, and the time is ticking. Redgar just managing to delay them so much and still surviving in this corner. He's also got Chronicle rotating it, but now comes through that Hunter's Fury. They need to find a new place to plant, and they will do so. The question is there anything Chronicle can do about it? No, but he can garner some extra ground. He can get that little bit closer. They'll drop another player, leaving it back into a 2 versus 2, and the timing didn't quite work out for him. SSK may be in a spot he won't be expected, but the shot's missed! It's left now just on to Dinks. This round looked set in stone for the side of Navi. Now this man needs to try and clutch out, and they've got so much time to play with. Redgar's going to finish it off. A worldie of a round from him. And Navi, well, they fall to the hands of Redgar.
They even avoid the fight. Right at the end, you saw Chronicle was playing on his way through mid. He spots the guy planting. Could have actually had an angle to take him down. But because they have the Hunter's Fury, he falls back. He's running up to regroup with his teammate to set up. Teammates took close. He's covering the cross. It was a really interesting decision that not to go for that fight. That again, we do not see that discipline nearly as much as we should. And that's something that I look to both of these teams so far have been so clean in situations where they've had advantages, they've been so good at closing them out, at not throwing away silly rounds because of mistakes on their own part. But then you've had these insane clutches off of sheer individual brilliance. And sometimes you get clutches. I think we even saw some in the highlight reel earlier that are like, well, you did win, but those 4 people are, you know, making a lot of mistakes. They threw themselves at you. It's like watching a Dr. Disrespect stream back in the day. But then realistically, you have to look at it and think like, these guys are not being given clutches, they're taking them.
Yeah. Yeah, they just kept denying whatever Navi wanted to do. It wasn't like Navi were just sitting static and not adapting, but they were just getting picked apart. And whether they were aggressive or passive or holding, it didn't make a difference. The Redgar managed to take down 3, and, well, he's got a teammate alongside him who's a superstar. Nevertheless, they're going to have to try and go into this round with mostly pistols, and, well, it's going to be tough to find any ground here.
Oh, that healing even got canceled out. SSK had already been tagged through a smoke. He gets a heal and then gets hit by a nade. They've gone up through mid and nobody noticed. Nats in there for a second kill. Pressure is on. The tags are in, and well, they are cleaning house. Redgar lighting them up, and Nats finishing them off 6-2. And Mech make quick and easy work, considering there were definitely some spanners in the work there. Some curveballs thrown by Navi. Mech only walk out with 1 player lost.
Yeah, and a lot of that came down to Nats once again. He's been an absolute nuisance within this A site when he's been playing there, and even just the utility that they've been combining. That's the thing about this defensive setup. It's somewhat of a weird one that revolves around Chronicle having his utility, and then when that runs out, you have Nats with almost exactly the same thing. So I like the setup they're running. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how it works in the attack, because they have a lot of setup utility, but they don't have that same sort of flash and dash that they used to with Defo.
Navi gonna pop out the recon here. That's caught him before, but Defo, yeah, he's gonna be caught by it again. Forced back off the angle, anchor destroyed, and now this isn't quite so easy to play aggressive anymore. He's gonna fall back and can't play out quite as wide. That's given Navi a lot of space.
You should run.
Oh, we're going to see the lockdown thrown in. Defo's still going to be able to sit back and almost try and hold this cross. I can't imagine there's going to be just this piece of utility thrown in. Eddie, in fact, starts going back in the other direction. He doesn't know. How could he know? Nats has pushed all the way out mid. They now have to try and make this execution work. It's just insanity. Through their screen he goes, a head taken, and then he's already back out of there in a safe spot once again.
The patient aggression from this team is absolutely beautiful to witness. Now set up to close this one out, but still having to fight their way in. That Viper's Pit gives so much cover. Mech are on their way. SSK caught up close, taken down. No, that's a good try from Cloud. The defuse has been stopped for a moment. Good attempt, but no victory to be found here. This is Mech up for 7 on the defensive side so far.
Yeah, I honestly think that, well, firstly, just Nats is back to Nats. Like, I feel like there's been sort of like blips within last season where it was like, okay, he's having some decent games, but he's definitely not just this superstar. But the amount of space that he's been able to take, the amount of positions where he's just caught them off guard, it's got to be so frustrating to play against. And then you just have Defo, where, like, there were a lot of players where I was thinking, like, okay, this agent could work quite nicely. Like, I think Navi was one of the primary examples. Like, he's a Sentinel who also likes to AWP. Chamber's perfect. Now I'm just looking at duelists like Defo play this, and I'm like, something needs to change. Like, he can't be allowed to run through a screen, headshot someone as a wall goes up, and then just disappear. And you're like, well, I can't actually refrag that, because no one could have reacted to that fast enough. It's not possible.
Navi's timeout, I think, reflects that. It's a situation where you can feel a little bit lost. You can sit back and go, yeah, what should we have done? Was there a problem with their game plan? Is there something we need to improve on? And I mean, some of the tougher things are when the answer to that is no, you know? It's a difficult loss to take, because it's like, well, what can I do better? Be better. Like, that's almost the only response you can give, because in a moment like that, There's too many things to account for, right? I think that you have to be realistic. Mech right now with 7 on the board. It's a good half. Navi need to win this one here. If not, they're going to be shut out and relying on another stellar performance, and I just don't know if you're going to see that back to back.
It's tough to break back from this sort of spot anyway, because again, there's a lot of decisions I think they're making that are not necessarily bad ones. It's just that Mecha, well, they're the masters of disruption, especially with the way that they're able to play so aggressively. They're switching up their setups. Look at A right now. There's literally nobody there. They've played almost fully into mid, looking like they might even work this as a retake, which I guess when you've got an orbital strike close, well, you just about have an orbital strike. Chronicle's playing a risky game, but instead, he's now got Nats playing around these positions. He's going to be getting them so much information.
Well, see, here's the thing. They're playing
No way.
What? He won it! What?
30 seconds left.
He just jumped from the top rope and took him down. All right, retake to play for. Navi locked into this side. It was being played for a retake, and now Mech are going to have to do exactly that. Orbital strike already used. Wall, well, it's standing strong. Taking a few mags here from Redgar. There you go. Gonna break open eventually, give them that angle to fight on through. Zeddy on top, about to be revealed. There's the reveal coming through. They're ready. They're spamming. He's down immediately. Dingsjay can't hold on. Traded out 1-to-1. Where's the last player? That's what Mech are wondering. Well, Cloud's hightailed it. My man's got a Hunter's Fury, but there's 3 players that he's up against. They've already tapped it the once, and well, Defo's right on him to make sure there's no more burst of that Hunter's Fury. A clean retake out of Mech. A lot of dangers, but they dealt with them perfectly.
I swear that Chronicle, like, just running headshotting him through the wall because of the one ping that came through. It's just nasty. It's like the second these guys have any information, this is hilarious as well. Like, have we actually seen Chronicle use orbital strike in a normal way once? Like, it's just like there's one guy on tube. I know what I can do. It's like, no, Chronicle sit there, and he's like, oh, but it's like, no, come on, like. And the fact that he still gets a kill is also ludicrous. Like, Nat's got to be just infuriated. He's just gone.
You will not kill my ally.
Interesting early aggression. They've just traded it out with a res, though, so it's all good for Navi, and they can just forget that one ever happened. Minute 20 on the clock.
He does know he's playing on a controller, right?
I don't think he does. I think that information hasn't been sent his way.
He didn't even have any support. That was just him. He was running.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I think we might as well call this one a day. Chronicle's decided the game's over. He's got places to be, dinner plans, reservations. Finally, they're going to kill him. It's because, well, he had to use a PC utility to force him out of that corner. He weren't winning an aim fight at this point. Still 3 players stand. It's a bold fight for Shados, but, well, Mech favor these bold decisions at this point.
It's just ridiculous. Here we go, though. Cloud. Oh, he's caught in the right. Had no idea that Nats was there. You know, we asked about Chronicle. Hey, what's the idea? I love that he's just showing us that one way. He showed it to us second round, but he pops it there, and it almost legitimately looked like a flashbang. At least from Navi's perspective. 1 second they're walking there, chilling out. The next they hear a noise, and bang, you can't see anything. 2 of you have just been sprayed down, toe tap. Look, it's just absolutely ridiculous what this man has just done.
The fact that, again, he just goes solo to get an orb, and then as someone tries to swing him, he's taking the orb and your face. He's got 2 for the price of 1, basically. When they're on form, they're on form. When they're unbeatable. And I feel bad for Navi because their second map was fantastic. And I feel bad for the next team that ends up playing Mech on Bind because I guarantee they're going to get slammed. That's just how it is. You beat them on a map and then they go, oh, yeah, we should probably fix that. And then that's it. There's nothing you can do.
I'm too far.
Well, Defo's happy to concede this space. That drone tagging him up. Certainly the right play to fall back. Navi are making their way towards B. 2 players here. Flash ready for Shados. Up ready for Defo. Or being taken. It's one towards that Viper's pit now for Zeddy. They might have heard that anchor go down on back yellow. They have an idea that Defo's around here now. They'll certainly be conscious of it anyways. Spams up top. They're not landing on him, and they're not deterring him either. Out wide, and down he goes.
You madman.
That was ambitious.
He's insane. Like, the things that he will attempt while having that, well, I say get out of jail free. It's not that free. He's dead. Swing comes back through from above. Dink's also looking at the backlines. He's expected, but he's got rid of Chronicle, and that will actually be the orbital strike gone as well, which he'd managed to already get back into the round. Zeddy as well has a nasty flank. Managed to bypass some utility. The spam this time isn't going to deny the plant, and well, things look very unlikely right now for Mech.
They absolutely do. This could be a third round, a much needed one for Navi. And that flank coming through from Zeddy is set to secure it. He was looking to get the Viper's pit online, but he might not need it. Now there it is to work with. Snakebite going down. They're not on the spike, though. They've pushed all the way forward, and SSK is waiting for them. Somehow still alive. Towards the end of that, gets Snakebite onto Shados. He can't even find a weapon, and oh, he suspects the wraparound. Good read, but it doesn't give him the win. Navi have 3 at the half, and well, they fought hard to get this 9-3 curse. Let's hope that it's real now, because that might be one of their only chances. A tough defensive side ahead of them.
Yeah, I do think that going into the attack now, like, obviously this is not a map that we significantly lean in that sort of defensive side direction, but at the same time, compositionally, it does look like that for Mech. So I'm curious to see how they're actually going to play this, because for Defo, he could take risks, but definitely not in the same manner of Jet. He can't get the same sort of angles that he would have done without it being incredibly obvious. So if they're going to be reliant on him as a pure entry, it's definitely not going to go in the same way that it used to. At the same time, we have seen some rough performances so far from Navi. Duno has been fantastic this series. One of the best players in the last map. He has 1 kill.
Yeah. A little bit of a slowdown. I think Duno was mainly on the retakes. Maybe a better chance coming into defense. Fight over kitchen. Dinks J. Oh, I love that. Using his turret as a distraction. Nano swarm down, and well, that's a free kill onto Chronicle. Nats is trying to recover as well to at least trade it out. And oh, well, hold on. The spike's going down on B, but 2 players are now pushing up through mid. What is going on here? Mech making some on-the-fly adjustments, but they've been spotted, and now they're in danger. SSK ready to fight on range, Headhunter in hand, but Shados deals with him. Duno goes down, so does Cloud, and so does Dinks J. Navi fall in a matter of seconds, and Mech connect double digits.
It's almost like some sort of Uno reverse card. It's like, we have them surrounded. It's like, no, they have us surrounded. It's like, that doesn't make... You can't just change things like that. Like, I love the angles that they played fighting in onto SSK. Like, they knew realistically the players back towards spawn couldn't hit them from there, so they had an isolated duel. And the problem for Navi is, okay, in any other scenario, that would have been fine. But because the spike's down, you have to move quick. You can't waste time on these players, and Mech knew that, so they opted to just waste them. The thing is, then you have Defo just pop into heads, and at that point, okay, the round is done.
I have a lot of questions about this Brim, right? And I think defensively, we've seen Orbital Strike used to no avail. I think he had it in the last round of the last half and didn't use it. The one-way smokes on A, okay, they've been all right. But nothing to write home about. Nothing that tells me that's like a huge pick, meta change type stuff going on here. So I want to see when it comes to the attack side, what the plan is. Again, is there going to be something a little bit different going on? A little bit of freaky Brim play? And, well, Chronicle will answer that for us. Just smoke down on mid right now. They've crossed, and the A side is about to be under threat. SSK, one of the most well-armed players. But, oh, and he hasn't been hit by the knife either, so this is pretty huge.
Not really been able to get too much. But one of the only weapons in play right now. Probably need a little bit more. Does buy some time at least, but through the screen they go, and Defo with another entry. Dinks will at least manage to get one on the trade, but an afterplant looking incredibly likely here. I've found another though. They've also isolated the duel onto Shados. This is quite shaky.
Oh Oh, there are definitely some chances here for Navi. Cloud sneaking above. That's perfect, but he's caught. So but Tom, I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know what the people at home are seeing, but we just had a Windows shutdown. Oh, there we go. We're back. We've reinstalled the operating system. Everything's good. Gonna be back on it in a moment. Well, that was a
someone
strange
forgot
end
to
around.
schedule their Windows update.
Dude, you know, it happens sometimes. You're like, yeah, remind me in a couple days, and then that day rolls around. Little did you know, to clutch out the round. And well, we've got a new update for you here, ready to go. We're gonna reset all your drivers as well while we're at it. You wanted that, right? Yeah, we saw you installed some of these things for audio. You don't need those. No.
Oh, that's funny at least. Either way, I think the round was converted by Mech, so yeah. I guess that's something.
yeah. For
I can't believe that's happened, but at least of all the technical pauses, it is one of the funnier ones. And hopefully, it's not going to be something too difficult to fix. Hopefully, you can just turn it back on. But then again, there is a reason I don't work in production, because I don't actually have a clue.
Yeah, when I was at one of my first LAN events, a man by the name of Tobin was walking about, was chilling, and in the middle of, I'm almost certain it was a lower final, like one of the last games of the event.
Right here.
He walked by one of the teams to have a little look, you know, behind them, have a little gander, and he kicked out the power cable in a 5v2 on like one of the last rounds. And they had to reset it.
They did this accidentally, right?
Accidentally, yeah. And they reset it, and then it
accidentally.
And it went to 3 maps. That team actually that was about to lose the map ended up winning the map and then won the series. So it was everyone. Shout out Tobin for that game. He was. They brought him into the studio anyways. Luckily, we've now escorted him off the premises. So he won't be kicking any power cables out anytime soon. Neither will Defo. Maybe he will. He's out of the game. He can restart himself if he wants to. He's got a couple minutes because Mech now 4v5 as they play back into this.
Now, this is a much heavier investment. Like, Navi did very well to do damage. Of course, the scoreline kind of takes away the value of that because they're so far behind. But in this round, at least, this is a much heavier investment than what you will see from a bonus round. Why does it look like he's still on the road? Nats is going to get one while squatting. That's at least a kill. Oh, God. No, it's falling apart again, isn't it? Every single kill just going in one direction. One-way traffic. Nat's still just squatting his way into the site.
Spike planted.
Cruising up on his way in. Navi not going to be following suit, though. Or are they? Oh, okay. They're looking to go for this. They need a kill. And yeah, I can respect the spams trying to catch absolutely anything, fishing for an opportunity, but it's not being offered up just yet. Mech backing off even. They're content to play this. They've got 2 shock darts and a molly to work with. There's the molly already through.
All the way in. Dinks has managed to at least drop one, but the time is ticking. He's got so much to do. In fact, it's already gone past. There's nothing he could do at this stage other than make things costly and maybe get his ultimate online, which is going to be online already. Shados trying to escape, but he won't be able to. And honestly, for Mech, that's fine, because Navi were coming in with their full buy. And okay, sure, Mech were in the same spot, but it leaves things almost fairly balanced for the last round, but just slightly in their favor because of finances.
Now, you're seeing the buy up here already. And Navi have the weaknesses through. The Spectre in the hands of Zeddy. And, you know, Tom, I hate to be that guy, but Dunno had some huge rounds. You said, you know, he'd had a tough start to this, but 1 in 15 right now. He has not been having a good time in even the most remote of senses.
Yeah, might have to look at seeing if he could be put onto an initiator. Because on the initiators, this series has been pretty good. But yeah, it's been rough, to say the least, going on to, well, I was going to say Sentinel, but we all know that's not true. Nonetheless, a much slower round once again for Mech. Taking things patient. They're going to know they have a huge advantage here. Financially, they put Navi in a rough spot for the next round. And, well, they're also getting fairly close to a lot of their ults as well. The only one available is going to be for that retake. And honestly, when you're up against a Sova and a KO, if a lockdown actually gets utilized properly, I'm a bit disappointed.
It's time to make a move. The man we were discussing, man who's got a Spectre, the one who's tasked with holding this A side as the entirety of Mech groups up outside of it. Now, Cloud has come through to support a Guardian in his hands, but this is a very disadvantageous fight for them to take. Shock Dart's good for some damage. Drop down. They're closing the distance, and Cloud's already been dropped. They haven't spotted Dono in the corner. Not yet, but there now they've seen him from above, and the range just too much for the Spectre to handle. This is looking like it's going to be over and done with here. Another fantastic orbital strike coming through. They won't find anyone, though.
Wait, what? It got destroyed, but they also got detained. So they got stuck within it. But they've run past Redgar. He's still on the site, and he can just tell them that they're not defusing. This is an absolute calamity once again. And well, it's going to be so confusing on the other side for Zeddy. It is going to be Mech taking home the victory of 13-3. If you skip out that map in the middle, it would have been dominant. But weirdly, the only map they lost, they chose.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange situation in this whole series.